Delta Force is the iconic free-to-play first-person shooter that you can play the beta on Steam right now, and you're probably wondering if Delta Force could be the next Battlefield killer. I had a really good first impression because I genuinely had fun playing the game, and I truly believe they have some good things going on. Trust me, that's a rare thing for me to say, because if you've seen any of my previous videos, well, life isn't all sunshine and rainbows, and I will always tell you what I truly feel, regardless of how many likes or dislikes I get on a video. However, I did find some issues with the game that could prevent Delta Force from being the next big title, so let's just go over the good stuff first. I've been wanting to play something like this but in multiple ways for a long time. It allows people who are into Battlefield style modes to get a glimpse of what it's like to play an extraction shooter, or vice versa. If you want to play a single player campaign, you can do that too. You can introduce players from different genres because the modes are easy to switch between and they encourage people to try and learn something new. Keep in mind that there is an entire genre of extraction shooters out there, like Escape from Tarkov or Hunt Showdown, and being able to compete with them while offering other gameplay modes is not only ambitious, but it also shows that the developers are willing to take a risk here by merging different genres. What's also great about these gameplay modes is that the developers have taken more of a casual approach compared to other competitors. If you look at the extraction mode, it's not as punishing as something like Escape from Tarkov, which has a much more hardcore and realistic approach to extracting and surviving against enemies, along with the addition of quality of life features. Delta Force offers different types of extractions, one where you can escape by dropping your backpack, a normal free extraction, and another one where you can pay with in-game currency. These options allow for easier decision making while still experiencing intense moments. Additionally, there's no friendly fire, so you can't accidentally shoot your teammates, and it's easier to track their positions because of the name tags. You also have operators with unique abilities, such as detecting enemies through walls or healing yourself during combat, which helps you survive longer in the game. The gameplay modes feel more casual too because of the gunplay and movement. It's very easy to run and shoot, and it doesn't have that heavy or slow feel to it like you would experience in an extraction shooter such as Tarkov or something like Battlefield. This can be a pro and con, depending on what you're looking for, and I'll get into the issues for the movement later. Overall, I think the gunplay is solid, and there's a lot of customization too. You can choose a loadout and upgrade attachments for each weapon, like adding a different scope or stock, allowing you to tailor the game to your own playstyle. It's a very easy game to learn because of its casual approach, but it's also hard to master, which allows players of any skill level to get into Delta Force and enjoy the gameplay. In one specific match, I was destroying enemies while holding one position for a few minutes, allowing my teammates to get closer to the objective. In another part of the game, I had to revive so many teammates who were getting bombed in one spot, which allowed me to fulfill the role that I was playing. I also tried to capture the objective all by myself, using smoke grenades to push forward toward enemies and get into a sneaky camping spot. All of these moments contribute to the overall Battlefield experience, and it feels great when you're at the top of the scoreboard because of the number of kills and revives that you've been able to pull off. Now, the reality is that, as much as I enjoy playing Delta Force, especially the Battlefield mode, I still found many issues that could potentially hurt the longevity of this game. One of the things that really bothered me was the movement. It's not the worst, but it can feel stiff and clunky at times. I was getting stuck on almost every object in the game. I mean, look at this. My buddy and I got stuck between a boat, which caused some really weird screen shaking, and we just couldn't get out. It's very easy to get stuck behind boulders or stones, especially if you're playing on a map that's open to crossfires and you need to find a corner to hide in. I've also seen comments from people saying that it sometimes feels like you're playing Call of Duty because of how floaty and light the movement can be. Like, this guy jumped from nowhere and shot me while floating in the air, and it almost got me killed too. The fact that you can run, jump, and shoot really breaks the immersion for a game that is trying to be sort of a military and realistic shooter, in my opinion. In addition to that, the maps I played weren't necessarily bad, but they do need some improvement. I think it had something to do with the spawn points as well as the level design. In one part of the game, we simply couldn't push through because of the sheer number of grenades and bombs being thrown at us. It was pretty much impossible to get through, and I had to revive my teammates as much as I could. In another game, after I died, I had two enemies spawn right in front of my eyes, which I found really strange. I think the maps are fine overall, but considering how this mode is being played in a linear way as attackers and defenders, it can become repetitive at times. The vehicles in this game, however, are terrible. I can't emphasize enough how bad it felt to control the helicopters and tanks. Maybe it's just me, but it wasn't easy to control the helicopters. They are also hard hard to destroy at times, and at one point a guy just pushed me with his bike, which left me really confused. I was like, what the hell is going on? Look, I could be nitpicking here, but some of these things do break the immersion while playing Delta Force. You have to remove the bots in Delta Force. This has been a hot topic lately, because it feels like you're playing against a lot of bots disguised as real players, due to the name tags and how easy it is to detect NPC behaviors. I don't want to play against bots, and I couldn't care less about the player count per match. They addressed this during the alpha due to low player numbers and to reduce matchmaking times, but even in the beta, there still seem to be plenty of bots, and I'm telling you, most people are not gonna like this. I think choosing operators with unique abilities, rather than nameless or class-based characters like in Battlefield, could be a recipe for disaster in 2024. There are already plenty of hero shooters or games with characters that have unique abilities on the market, and the issue is that there will always be imbalances between the operators. There were so many times when I tried to push forward, only to have my position revealed by an operator who can shoot an arrow that detects anyone in the area. It literally makes smoke grenades pointless at times, and you have to wonder how they plan to balance this aspect of the game. Another example of this is that the ability to use a tactical slide is locked behind an operator. That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, shouldn't that mechanic be part of the core movement and gameplay of Delta Force? On top of that, you also have locked loadouts behind operators, as not every weapon can be used by every operator. The problem with this is that most games that have characters with unique abilities usually devolve into a few meta characters, while the rest of the operators are rarely used by the majority of the player base. This creates balance issues, because why would anyone want to play a character that is weaker than the others? If you take a look at the skins for the weapons in the game, doesn't that really remind you of other games that produce silly skins? There's no way somebody would actually try to use a pink skin on a weapon in a military setting. Again, it doesn't make sense to me. Now of course, they are just skins, and who cares about skins after all? Alongside the skins, you have so many damn challenges and different mission achievements that you have to claim. These include daily missions as well as recruit missions that you have to keep claiming all the time, and it really feels like a lot of filler content rather than something that is actually meaningful for the game. Overall, I think Delta Force is a solid game, and I had a good time playing it, especially in the Havoc Warfare mode given how casual it is, and I can still see myself playing it in the future. However, as honest as I always am, I don't really believe this game is going to replace Battlefield or become the next big title. If anything, you could argue that this game does some things worse than the recent Battlefield title 2042. It's also too late in development for Delta Force to try and change something like, for example, from operators to class-based characters. Of course, they can continue to make improvements to the game, but balancing operators, fixing vehicles, or adjusting certain map layouts is going to take much longer to address. Like anything that's a core part of the gameplay experience won't get changed overnight, which is why I believe that Delta Force can be a solid and fun experience for now, but we will have to see for how long that will last. Anyway, soldiers, let me know what pros and cons you found with Delta Force in the comment section below. That's about it. I am out.